right, hello guys. Welcome to the episode 7 of the Yellow Wall India podcast. Today we have a returning guest on the podcast. You heard from him on episode 2. Nico has joined us back. Today we'll be looking at this past season that has gone by and our performances in the year of 2020. So let's get started. Let's hear from you, Nico. How are you doing?
Hello, thank you for welcoming back to the podcast. Very nice. Yeah, it has been a different year and interesting year this season. So let's see how this review goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Also joining us is Kaustubh today. You must have heard from Kaustubh in the past episodes. So Kaustubh and I will be hosting the episode together today. So this is a first. So hi Kaustubh, how are you doing?
Hi Nico, hi Sujay. I'm doing good. I think this is a special episode and it definitely requires a lot of things to be discussed and reviewing the 2020 as a whole. And we have a good person in form of Nico to discuss these things. So yeah, look forward to the discussion.
All right, so let's get started. Let's start things on a positive note. All right, so let's start with the player of the year. I just give my opinion quickly first, and then we'll jump to you guys. I was really split when I was thinking about this between Erling Haaland and Rafael Guerrero, but somewhere down the line, like my heart settles for Guerrero because like he's been there through the thick and thin, and like he creates so many chances, and now he's been scoring as well. So I would say Rafael Guerrero is my pick for player of the year. Nico?
Right. I don't have mentioned these two. But I think Rafael Guerrero is a really good one. And he is... he rarely makes the appearances in the media as he should. So it's a really good pick. Erling Haaland, of course, is well as well. So many goals. But for me personally, it was Mats Hummels, actually. I'm quite surprised that he keeps his level up there every game. I think he's the only player that started also every game and played most minutes this season. So yeah, for me it's Mats Hummels.
Yeah, I mean, considering his age also and the fact that he's been so consistent and also been our captain in absence of Rice. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good pick. Kaustubh?
Yeah, I think so. I agree with Nico. I was also gonna say Matt Hummels. So I think so. He's one of the standout performer who was there for us and has been consistently performing considering the games. And since we are playing very regularly, the calendar is like that. So I think so for him to perform in and out and taking the defense single-handedly, it's a big thing. It was a shame, I think, so when he got injured for in between, and that niggle after that has been coming in different forms. So that's been there, but yeah, he's been a consistent performer. But Nico, I wanted to ask you one thing. I recently was reading a German newspaper has been pretty harsh on Hummels as well as Chan and seniors who were there. What do you think about that if you have gone through that?
In general, I guess I see sometimes that from some supporters it's a little bit harsh against him, but I think some players take it still bad that he went to Bayern and came back, etc. Actually for the second time, but I can only ignore this because his performance speaks for himself. I mean, there was 30 games to play and he played 13 out of it, and he really performed very good in nearly all of them. Always a leader, always trying to push. So I have nothing bad to say about him because he is giving everything he can, and that's what I expect and what I want for any player at BVB.
Yeah. Also, there was some news about Mario Götze giving the statement that he should have stayed with Jurgen Klopp and not leave Dortmund for going to Bayern Munich when he did. So yeah, these interesting news keep popping up every now and then. Speaking of our performances this year, a very important thing that drives our club is the fans, and the fans were missing this season from the stadium for most of the part. So I think that, being a club that has such a strong fan following, such a strong fan base, the Yellow Wall speaks for itself. So I think even without the fans, our performances were really decent up until a point, which we'll discuss further. But I mean, that's something that really surprised me, that we played so well without the fans. So what do you guys think about that?
That we didn't play without fans and that we played good there, you mean?
Yeah.
So I was a little bit surprised, but also on the negative side, kind of, because we had home matches that we lost, and I wonder if it would have turned around if the stadium would have been full with fans. So it definitely has an impact. I see also in general over the Bundesliga, but maybe that's just a feeling. But it looks a little bit like the usually most teams, they perform better when they play at home, but it seems that there are more away wins than previously. So but maybe that's just a feeling. I can't back it up right now with any numbers.
No, I agree. I think so. The stats are there to back this up. That we aren't performing well at home right now, and that's been a sad thing to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think that once the fans are back in the stadiums, which I don't see happening before April, I think we'd be much better. But by that time, most of the season would have already been gone. So let's move to the next category, which is the best team performance of 2020. Nico?
For me, I had to look a little bit through. So I picked Borussia Dortmund against Freiburg, where we won 4-0. I think that was early in this season here.
Yeah.
And that was the best one. I wasn't sure if you were asking about the best team performance or the best player performance.
Best team performance.
If I can just quickly mention that one the best player performance, I think, was Erling Haaland with the 4 goals against Hertha Berlin. So it was pretty amazing there. But if you see for a team, I think it was Dortmund against Freiburg.
Yeah, even the opening game of the season when we played Mönchengladbach was a pretty good team performance.
3-0.
Yeah. Kaustubh?
I think so. I'll not take the win one, but I'll see. For me personally, the game against Bayern when we played at home, the first Klassiker which happened, not the Super Cup, the Bayern game as well. I think so. That was pretty good and solid performance. That we were really at that time were challenging and were really giving a statement that yes, I think so. This year could be the year where we can definitely challenge, and you could see the passion and the energy in the team that they really wanted to win that, especially after the Super Cup game, which also went close. But I think so that was one thing which really stood out for me.
Yeah, I guess there was a lot of display of mentality in that game. I remember this moment when Leroy Sané, I think he was the third scorer, and like Haaland literally ran from one end of the pitch to the other one just to try and stopping him, and it was brilliant. Like a lot of mentality was shown in that game. So yeah, I think these games have been real good for us. So speaking of all these games, there's also been a lot of drama that has happened in the past year, especially to do with the coaching staff. I personally feel that Favre had to go, if not now, then maybe at the end of the season. Personally, if I had to say, I'd say that the decision was a little bit, I think it was rushed a little because of the loss that we had against Stuttgart. But nevertheless, I'm really happy with the way Terzic is heading the team. So what are your thoughts on that, Nico?
Yeah, I believe a little bit the same thing here, that something needed to change, and that's why they rushed it, because of the 5-1 loss against Stuttgart. It seemed for me a little bit, though, that there wasn't really a backup plan. So they just did something, and that was the only available option to put Aiden as a head coach for now. And they do it until the end of the season, because I actually personally believe there's already an agreement for the next coach. But yeah, we will see what happens and how the rest of the season goes.
Just a small follow-up question, Nico. Who would you like to see as the coach next season?
who would I like to see, or who I believe will be the next coach?
Okay, let's go with both of them.
Well, I believe it's Marco Rose. He will, the coach from Borussia Mönchengladbach. I think he has already an agreement with Dortmund. I don't know. It's just my personal guess, but that's what I believe is going to happen. Who I want to see really depends a little bit, because I mean, what I've seen the past 3 games from Edin Terzic, I like the guy. I didn't know much about him, but I mean, if he starts winning like nothing else, I would be happy to have him there, because he's a fan, and having a fan as a coach, it's pretty awesome. So I would pick him then, I guess.
I guess a lot of
I think so, yeah.
opinions also, like from the team of him, were also really positive. Like his ideas were very well received in the team initially. I just hope that continues and we can have a good run with him. Kaustubh, what do you think about this?
He comes from the school of Klopp, I think so. He has been there. So I think so. He has that mindset as well, and he uses the same. Some of these tactics are similar, which Klopp had, and he's also a people person. Like, his press conferences, I think so. He's doing pretty good. He says the right things and he explains in detail. That's something which usually coaches avoid doing. And yes, I think so personally that we missed a person who could really feel the passion which Dortmund represents, and that this guy has that. And Dortmund, I think so, missed a trick and will miss a trick again if they. Personally, I feel if they go for Rose, and because Borussia Mönchengladbach is also struggling right now. Yes, they have a different team, but they need someone who is really ambitious and has that passion, and this guy is that guy, I think so, who really shows that he's unconventional in that sense, that till now we have been going for those defined coaches who have proved at least in past, but he is really raw and he's ambitious, and you can see he's really trying to bring changes, and he knows what team really lacks right now, and he's trying to address that. So yeah, time will tell, but yeah, I don't think so. Dortmund should go for Marco Rose. Should try for someone else. Don't know. Maybe Poch was someone who was the ideal thing, but don't know what happened and how
I
it
think there's
turned
something to
out.
do with Pochettino not being German speaking. I heard that club only goes for German speaking coaches.
Yes,
Yeah, that's what Nico was also telling.
Yeah.
So that's what I was also coming to Nico about that. Has
I can
Dortmund
comment
really missed the trick?
I can comment quickly on this one. So there is this. It was said in previous years that that a coach for Dortmund should speak German. We had other coaches before. I think Nevio Scala in the 90s. He didn't speak German. I think only Italian and English. I think it's a little bit overdue, this rule, so I think this one can go away. But with Pochettino comes also downside that he's not really good in English either. So, so communication might be an issue there. The biggest thing that why I think it's not going to be Pochettino is more from his side. Honestly, I mean, Dortmund is a big club, but I don't think that we are in his league. He's just taking the top shelf of clubs now, and unfortunately, we are not there. Different side, additionally, is the money. He just costs way too much money. We cannot afford that. So it's not going to happen.
But do you think we missed a trick by taking Favre as the coach for this season? Because if you see the current situation, we are again at the same situation which we could have been had he been sacked, or the agreement to continue for another year wouldn't have taken place. Like right now, also we have a new coach who is really raw, and at that time also we could have got a new coach at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
So the Zogs comment, what do you feel like? Like their sporting goals was the reason given, but what do you feel happened really?
What I, and again, that's just my personal fan opinion, but what I think was happened is that Favre had a contract until the end of the year, and before he got sacked, it was already there was already an agreement with Rose. So the deal was internally that we will continue the year until the end of the year, or until the end of the season, with Favre, and then Marco Rose will take over. And as long as we finished between the first four places in the Bundesliga, that would have been fine. But now this was in danger, so they had to the management had to act somehow, and I would personally have continued with Favre, but I don't mind the outcome either now. So I mean, we have in totally in this season we have won 62% of the games, 13 games. So yeah, and exactly Terzic has the same. I mean, he only played 3 games, but lost 1 and won 2. So it's also the same percentage there, more or less. So
I kind of hope we have like a Hansi Flick moment with Terzic where he can come and turn around the entire game.
Yeah, I heard that as well. But I mean, we really can't be compared to Bayern. I mean, they have, first of all, they have so much more money. They have a different squad, so much more depth in it, and this is, I mean, Bayern has been pretty good in many decades. This is currently the best Bayern ever. I mean, they are better than when they had the triple with Heinkes. They are better than they were in the 70s, etc. So even if we would play at our best, unfortunately, they are still better. I mean, they lose a game here and there this season, but Jesus, they are so consistent. So
I think also the one thing that they really do well is they have the mentality to come back. Even when they're 2-0, 3-0 down, they come back. They always come back stronger. That's something that So let's move past to the next category. We had a very long and lengthy discussion on the coach. Let's move to the goal of the year for this season. I'll personally start with mine. It's not really something that I was blown away with, but just the moment that it created. I think Yusufa Moukokou's debut goal was the moment for me till now. I mean, such a great talent at such a young age. It's mind blowing, and a lot of people I see on all these fan club groups and all these people are just giving him slack that he's not being able to cope up with the with the senior teams. I feel he just needs time, and with time he'll only get better and better. But yeah, that was the goal of the year for me. Nico?
When I read it before the podcast, I really had to quickly look up also goals that we scored this season just to get them in my head again. And I picked actually that one as well. Yeah, Yusufa Moukoko 1-1 against Union Berlin. I mean, not only because it was him, but it was also a really good goal. But I also have to mention a second one for me, which was Gio Reyna against Stuttgart, actually the game that we lost. But the 1-1, the chip that he did there, that was pretty amazing. So so these two, but I also go actually with Yusufa Moukoko.
Yeah. Kaustubh?
Yeah, I think so. Haaland's brace was pretty good. The moments, like we were really, we were not there in the first half, and then the way we started the second half, I think so. The moment, I think so, considering that was pretty good, and then I think so Sancho's goal also from spot kick which he took, that's also very important for him, considering that.
The one against Club Brugge, right?
Yeah,
that was a really good one.
Those things are pretty symbolic as in that sense. Like we didn't have any spectacular goals, like not many as we are used to see with Dortmund, I think so. But these were pretty defining moments for me.
I think an honorable mention for me would also be the no-look goal from Marco Reus on the game against Bayern, the one that gave us the 1-0 lead.
Yeah,
that was also a pretty good goal. Okay, let's just move past now to the worst performance of 2020 of this season. Controversial one, but in my opinion, I'd say I personally expected a little bit more from a player like Thomas Meunier coming into the club, bringing in that much experience. I thought he was better towards the end of this year when he got a little bit more settled in and started receiving the ideas a lot better. But initially, I thought he really struggled. So yeah, that'd be my pick, Thomas Meunier.
I honestly I honestly think that I think so. When he was signed, I was just checking the posts and I saw PSG fans sharing the compiled videos of his performance in PSG, and they were like the similar thing which he did this time, that his passes were very wayward and he was losing balls. His free kicks were going haywire. And I thought that maybe that's just their way of telling him that okay, you're not happy or that you're going in between before the game or something. I think so. It's coming slowly to that thing only. The same, I'm getting that vision of videos and the clips which I saw,
Yeah,
and he's solid. I think so as a defender, and he's getting the backing of the club because club has invested a lot in terms of wages with him. But I think so he was needed, and he couldn't perform. And we are a team under Favre were mostly reliant on our wing backs when Hakimi and Guerrero both used to play. So I think so that has gone back, and this was also one of the biggest reason that a lot of things had to be changed because wing backs were not effective anymore, especially Munir's side.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I think so that was one thing, and I think the Brandt has also not been good till now. But this last game was very good. I think so. He should have been given more time. But a lot has been expected from him as well. So these two, for me, are the people who were good performers.
Nico?
Right. Yeah, I wasn't sure if we were talking about team or players here. So quickly,
Player.
team. Worst performance of the team was 1-5 against Stuttgart. Nothing more about that.
Yeah.
Player-wise, I also have to mention Thomas Meunier, and that was against the Köln game. That was his worst game, I think. But I want to defend Thomas Meunier a little bit. It is a little bit hard or harsh from some fans because they always compare him against Hakimi. And of course, football is about scoring goals, and Hakimi scored a lot of goals, and he was offensively very, very good. But defensively, he was very weak. And I mean, we have lost many games or got goals scored against us because of Hakimi, because he wasn't there where he should have been.
Yeah.
So that was where Thomas Meunier comes in. Yeah, he had a difficult start at the beginning of the season, but I think that's normal. He didn't play or train like for nearly 8 months, neither at PSG or when he came, when due to the pandemic, etc. So yeah, he definitely was way off at the beginning. But I think the last games, he was pretty solid and he was getting better defensively. The negative points that were mentioned before, they are all in the offense. So the passing, the centers in when he passes into the center, etc. Yeah, they are often way off, and that's definitely something he has to work on. But I think this is not his main job. His main job is playing in the defense, and I think that part he's doing pretty good.
Yeah, I just hope that when he comes back from his injury, he's much better.
Yeah.
And yeah. So moving.
Just one thing I wanted to ask Nico
Yeah.
about this thing. I'll put you on spot, Nico, for this. Uh, in the conference which he had, the first conference which Thomas Meunier had with the press, he said that he is a guy who likes to attack, and if given a chance, he would play 3-4-3 rather than four from the back, doing that thing because he likes to attack. But he hasn't been effective in wings. In the crucial moments on the wings, he hasn't been able to deliver those crosses or those passes in the box. In this situation, how do you feel? Like he is good defensively, but he wants to attack. So how would you change the game plan or use him now, considering that?
Well, at the moment, I would tell him that it's nice that he wants to attack, but at the moment, he's not good enough for the attacking part. So he has to stay more back and do his defensive job, and then go into training and train more his offensive passes and crosses. So until he has not improved or got the confidence there that this will work, I would rather than pass the ball earlier to Sancho, and then he does the offensive part.
Yeah. Speaking of Sancho, I mean, wouldn't say that he was bad this season, but from the way that we have seen him before, he's had a dip
Well,
in his form. Yeah.
yeah, Exactly, dip in his form. But I think he's not the only one. Brandt was mentioned before, and there are many players that have a dip in his form. And when it comes to Sancho, of course, you can say, yeah, well, he has his head already in Manchester, etc. I don't know. There could be many things. Don't forget, these people or these kids are really young. So they are not living in their countries. There's a pandemic going on. These guys can't travel home for Christmas and stuff and see their families. It's not easy. And I don't wonder that things are going this way from time to time. So I just wish that there would be more supporting from everybody, so that we get all of these players back to the level they should be and perform for us instead of just screaming and wanting their heads.
So speaking, now that you started speaking about the youngsters in the squad and their challenges, let's move to the next category, which is the Rookie of the Year.
Yes.
There were so many great performances by the likes of Chiorena, Mokoko, Jude Bellingham, Jadon Sancho, Erling Haaland. All of them were so good. But for my pick, I'd say I found a lot of promise in Chiorena and also Jude Bellingham. I mean, I really can't pick between both of them. Jude, I think he's so solid as a midfielder. He drops back when needed. He's on the offense when needed, and he's such a physical player for his age. That's just something that completely blows my mind. So, yeah, these two for me. Kaustubh?
Yeah, for me also, Jude is one guy who really stood part, and I think so. I was following him from his time in English league as well, and I'm not surprised as such with his performance because he was doing pretty good there as well. But his growth has been pretty good and impressive, if you ask me. The way he has started to perform now, especially against Bayern, where he was up for it, that he really wanted to prove that yes, he is there, he belongs here. That fire he has is pretty contagious, and that's something which we need from youngsters, especially who can really boost with their energy. And other than that, I think the Raina has been someone who has really started to peak now slowly. And I think so. It's that time again where when Sancho was at the similar stage when Pulisic was there. And this was the same thing which happened that Sancho started to peak and Pulisic had got injured and also then started to be subbed early or was not playing regularly in the playing 11. So I think so. Similar situation is coming up where Gio is now starting to peak and Sancho has a dip in form, and people are questioning Sancho more now. That transition is there, which is happening. So it's like history is repeating itself again.
Yeah, I also feel like Gio is taking a lot more responsibility now, which is something that I really appreciate coming from a player of his age. Nico?
I just looked at rookies, so people that actually came in the summer window. So for me, Jude Bellingham, without a question there. So it's you mentioned it before, his performance, especially because of his age, is amazing. He's so solid. He has such a good ball control, and it's amazing. And he's a fighter. You really can see that he's coming from the second English league, what's called Championship, and yeah, amazing. So if he gets knocked down, no problem. He gets up, just continues without complaining and running for it. So amazing.
Yeah, and he's also one to knock people over all the time. So
True.
Physically pretty solid.
yeah, it's really, really solid physically. That's what I really appreciate about him. Also, I would like just to say that, we shouldn't exclude Mukoko from this list. At this age, playing in the senior league is something that's phenomenal on its own. And I feel that with time, he's going to be one of the best players in the Bundesliga. And I was really excited to read that Terzic has some plans in which he plans to play Haaland and Mukoko in the same setting. So that would be something really interesting to see, because both of them together, I can only imagine the kind of performance that we would get out of them. Okay, so we'll move to the next thing, which is the key things to improve in the next year of 2021. For starters, I would say, like for me, the biggest letdown has been that we've been leaking goals a lot. Secondly, I don't know, this is just a personal opinion, but I think Roman Burki could do a bit with a little bit of improving. And thirdly, yeah, we need to have some sort of, a strong defender. So if we could see someone in the January window, which I don't think is going to happen, that's going to be great. But yeah, I do think we need some improvement in our defense. Nico?
I wrote down one word, which is consistency, which we mentioned what Bayern has, and which we are unfortunately lacking. I mean, there are many factors that comes down to, and like you mentioned, we get goals against us, we don't score when we should, etc. But it's a consistency. Generally, I always feel that Dortmund doesn't. I don't mind if we lose from time to time, but if we lose a game, like for example against the Bayern, the Bundesliga game. We played really well and we tried and we gave our best. Okay, we lose. And even we lost unlucky. I mean, some of the goals however went in. Okay, different story. But like losing against Köln and no disrespect to any of these teams or against Stuttgart, these are the points that we should get. I mean, I expect that sometimes we may lose against Bayern or Leipzig or one of the top teams. But this consistency that we have actually losing against the bottom teams is that we really have to change and change it quick.
Yeah.
Kaustubh?
I agree that I was something which I was also looking forward to was consistency. That was the only thing which could build the momentum, and especially with the young team, you need a lot of momentum to really keep on bringing that energy. That you really have to keep on. You can easily win, even those dirty wins can come in at that time when you have that belief and confidence, which is not there right now with this team. And that's the second part of the having a young team which doesn't have that much experience. So that's one thing. But I'll see from improvement point of view, I'll also include management as well here. That I think so. The decisions of making, I think that I'm sure they would have realized that they need a second striker. That statement of Vatke that you'll get a second striker in November, and going with only one striker despite knowing how we have performed in last season when we had no striker. So I think so that was a little shallow from my point of view. That you are again put. I don't know what they were thinking, or they were really thinking of Mokoko bringing any changes. So their decisions also have been something which I think so have been affected by COVID as well. But I think so they could have planned a bit more with their process. And from players' point of view, I think so I'll say that something which we have to improve now is to again I'll agree with Nico is the consistency. Like whether it is dirty wins or anything, that other things can get overshadowed and are the processes which can be improved. But if we have these things, I think so we should be able to work on the other part. But yeah, one thing I'll say is the lack of defending the set pieces. I think so that's been something which has been horrible this season. Committing the same mistakes in the same game, and you could see the reaction of Zorg, especially. So those things are something which we have to improve now. Nico, I had one question regarding this, just based on the segment which we were doing. So I wanted to ask you, how do you assess this sudden dip which has happened, that many of the players are out of form and we were playing pretty solid in defense, and suddenly the goals have started to leak, players have started to get frustrated, and it has just started to build up and it's going down, which people are not having energy on the field, their movement have stopped. So what has happened suddenly that all the wheels have gone out off now suddenly after a game?
Yeah, it could be anything in general, and all the teams I guess have the same. But I personally think it's a pandemic. I see this also that, for example, that was one of the reasons I thought we lost, for example, the first game in the Champions League against Lazio, because Italy is one of the hotspots in Europe, and And I personally, especially as a young player, I would feel really awkward knowing that now I have to travel to Rome, to one of the hotspots, and everything is kind of secure. You have to do all these tests like every day, several times, and you can't go out. They don't. I mean, they have a different lifestyle usually. These millionaires,
Yeah.
and now they can't do anything. They are just at home and they have to train maybe in small groups, etc. So I think this is getting into their heads. And additionally, they have to play so many games in such a short time. Everything is compact. They don't have breaks, etc. But again, this is the same for all the other teams as well. So Bayern does it somehow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's in general. I think it's a pandemic.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. I think so. The second part is something which is which I was coming to the scheduling. I think so is something which has to play a big role. If you ask Bayern fans, also they are saying that this year could be an opportunity that maybe a new league winner could be there, because Bayern team also plays with that press, and that energy level is not there right now. Somehow they are winning, but they are also facing the heat of the scheduling right now, especially when they're competing in all the competitions which they're playing to win. So yeah, that's been something which has been effective. Yeah.
So moving forward, I think we have a very, very tight schedule. We are facing, I think, Wolfsburg is our next game when we get out of the winter break. And
Yeah.
right after that, we have Leipzig, then we have Leverkusen, and then back again with the game with Mainz in between, which we can say would be a breather. So, your thoughts on that, Nico?
Well, first of all, I just read that apparently Haaland is ready to play against Wolfsburg, so that's really good. I hope we, as you mentioned earlier, maybe we see Haaland and Moukoko playing together. That would be awesome. But yeah, it's going to be a tough month in January. Wolfsburg, I think they were the last team that didn't lose in this season. They just lost against Bayern, like everybody else. And but apart from that, so they are there. We first have to beat them, so that's not as easy. Leipzig is coming right after. That's gonna be tough as well. Mainz supposedly not, but again, it's one of the teams that is down there, and we lost already against Köln and against Stuttgart. So let's see how that goes. Leverkusen again and Gladbach. So it's gonna be difficult. From on paper and based on the names, I guess we should win all of these games. Maybe not the Leipzig one, but in theory, all of them. I just don't see it happening. So, but yeah, let's see. I have no prediction on these games, so let's see what comes out.
So lately, I've been watching all of these games from Bundesliga, and I was really surprised how well Leverkusen is playing these days. So I think that'll also be a very challenging game.
Yes.
They gave Bayern a run for their money. It was a really good game to watch. So yeah, Kaustubh?
I think so. It's well deserved the time which they were at the top, and I think so. They were unlucky, if you ask me, that they lost against Bayern. So they're playing pretty good at that time, and had to be last minute goal by Lewandowski to sum it up. And yeah, so I think so. One thing which I look forward to is that this is now the opportunity for us to really uh, to show the intent and maybe get to the place where we want to be in top four. And for that, we have to beat the team which are above us. And now we have that opportunity. So this will be interesting to see. And otherwise, I think so. We have our challenges. So let's see how it goes. But yeah, will be an interesting January for sure. Nico, what do you think about the current situation? Like, do you feel with this squad which we have, this too much dependency on Sancho right now? Like we were discussing on Sancho, and we didn't prepare ourselves to have a maybe not a replacement, but someone who could come from the bench as a winger to just support him when he's not having good days. Because right now we are just playing him because he's Sancho. So we have to play him just to see whether he can create that magic again. And same is with the Reina. Hazard is injured, but other than those, do you see that we missed a trick here?
Yeah, I mean, the problem is the other people that are on the bench at the moment. Most of them are also out of form. So someone has to play. But if nobody is stepping up at the moment, it's difficult. I think Gio Reyna did good work, but he usually plays on the other side. So I mean, same as Marco Reus. He's out of form, and Sancho's out of form, and Brandt's out of form. So it's getting a little bit thin. What are you gonna do then? So I think the best option that we have is getting these people back in shape somehow, and yeah, that is the
Do
only
you
solution I
feel
see.
do you feel Guerrero could be played at wing and Sancho could be maybe should be benched for a few games just to give him time and we can have Pastnak at the back to
Yeah,
just
I read
support?
that the other day that they're maybe planning to play Guerrero in midfield, but then he would play on the left side, I assume, where Sancho usually plays on the right.
Yeah,
But I think that's definitely an option because yeah, Guerrero is really good offensively.
yeah,
But then you have to put somebody in the defense again that should work there. So maybe Paslak. I don't see honestly Nico Schulz stepping up at the moment.
yeah.
So that's not going to work. So I guess the only solution there would be Paslak, I guess. Um, yeah, I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
Sancho and especially Brandt, I think they really should get back into shape and find the form again,
Yeah.
and get the luck back, and then we're good to go, I think.
I think we
Do
could
you
also
feel? Yeah.
experiment with a little more game time with Dahoud and Delaney. Both of them are really promising.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's something that I feel that they should be played more often.
But what happened to Dawood? I don't understand. Like Delaney is injured, but Mo has been pretty good, and especially against Bayern, he has been pretty good in two games which he played, and also the last game which he played in the league. I don't understand why is he not being played at all now, not being even considered sometimes when the playing 15 as well. What's wrong there?
Well, with Dahoud, I think the problem is that there's nothing wrong with him. I think the games, as you mentioned, he played solid. Thing is, the other players are better at the moment. They just have an edge over him. So, I mean, the coaching team, they see the players they have available, and it's not easy. There are many players for these two positions actually, and I just think that, or I think the coaches believe that that Dahoud is unfortunately the weakest at the moment. So they just played him when the others were out of form, injured, couldn't play because of cards or whatever, and
Mhm.
yeah.
But do you feel any changes happening, not from the term of someone coming in, but people going out now? Like,
Transfers.
yeah,
Well, in general, as you just mentioned, I don't think somebody's coming in at all,
yeah,
unless we sell somebody, which I also don't think it's going to happen. So there are these rumors that Brandt maybe is linked with Arsenal, but I don't think that's somewhat something that Brandt is looking for. It's
yeah,
just Arsenal is performing so bad this
yeah.
season, so they need to act on some level, and they're checking their possibilities. So that's how
Mm.
Brandt's name came up. But I don't see anything moving, and I mean, Zorc confirmed it himself, especially in there. There's no financial situation that would allow any transfer, so there's nothing we can do.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think so. That is just media coming on the fact that Brandt hasn't been good,
Mm,
and it's just an easier way to link him up with the transfer, maybe,
mm,
and with the team who hasn't been having a good run for sure is Arsenal. So linking it up there. But yeah, I agree. Brandt is not someone who would really like this move,
mm.
and nor it suits, I think so, him because he's settled here and he was doing pretty good till now, till this season. So it's gonna be interesting. But but Nico, just one thing which I wanted to ask: do you really feel like what do you feel are the goals of Dortmund now from this season? And do you really feel that UCL game which we have now, is it realistically possible to beat Sevilla, considering the team which we have right now?
I think the only goal, personal goal for me, is to get this season over because pandemic is just screwing up everything. So for me, the only goal is to get this pandemic over and finish between 1 and 4th. Well, realistically, 2nd and 4th, I guess, so that we play Champions League next year as well. Everything else, I think, is secondary.
Yeah, I agree. And do you feel that Sevilla game which we have, what realistically are you looking for if you want to beat them from our side?
So can you repeat that?
The game, UCL game which we have, what do you realistically feel about the game and what should we be doing if we want to beat the team?
Well, in generally, for all games, I think what we need is consistency. So, yeah, as I mentioned before, I don't have much more to give than that. So,
just to add slightly to that, I think consistency along with the mentality to come back if you're 1-0 down or even 2-0 down, that's something that we really need at this point. And Sevilla can be a really frustrating team to play against. Like I was following some of their games last year when they were playing Europa, and yeah, I think it's going to be a difficult game, but I personally feel that we will qualify for the quarters this season. So Nico, just to wind all the things up, we'll just do a fun prediction for the year 2021. So can we have your prediction on our spot on the Bundesliga table?
Where we will finish?
Yeah.
2nd, I hope. Okay, let's put 2nd.
2nd, okay. Kaustubh?
I think so. I'll be happy if we finish 3rd. I don't think so. Leipzig, if it continues like this, I think so it will be difficult for us to really challenge them. If the only thing is that they aren't being consistent in the second half of the season. So 3rd, I think so for me.
Yeah, even I feel that position between 2nd and 3rd is more likely, but you never know what happens. And I just have my fingers crossed that we play UEFA Champions League next year. Then we also have DFB Pokal. I think that's something that we can realistically look to target. I think we should at least try hard to get that trophy home. And for the Champions League, I'd say maybe if we beat Sevilla, I see us going till the quarters this season. Yeah, your thoughts on that quickly?
Yeah, I think so. For me, it's the same. I think so. I think so. It's for Champions League quarter would be the one which I was looking for from beginning, and that's the only thing which I'm looking. Pokal game, I think so. The more we go forward, it's better now. So yeah, those are the two things. Nico?
Yeah, for Champions League, I think the Sevilla games will be tough, but doable. But I really think it's 50-50 at the moment, so it could be anything. The draw for the German Cup is on the 3rd. I think it's right after the Wolfsburg game.
Yeah.
So let's find out who we get there. I guess if we don't get Bayern, then anybody else would be somebody that we can potentially win against. So hopefully we get into another round there. So continue in both cups would be great. I think there's no shame going out against Seville, but yeah, I think it would be good to continue there, and everything what comes after, I guess, is a bonus anyway.
Yeah. All right, so I guess this is it from this episode. Nico, thanks a lot for joining us again. It's always real fun talking to you, and maybe once we're done with the season, we can have you back again and discuss and look back and laugh at our predictions maybe.
Yeah.
So a big thank you to Nico for joining, and a big thank you to Kaustubh for co-hosting this episode with me. If you haven't heard our previous episodes, you can find them all on our Facebook and Instagram page under the name of Yellow Wall India. I would like to thank you all for listening. Stay safe, wash your hands, and cheers.